Hey, you know that your franchisees don't need more hype. They don't need more rah rah and that kind of stuff. They need to understand what actually makes them money. If they can't explain what break even means, if they don't understand profit margin, that's probably not their fault. It's yours. Stick around and let's fix that.
This is the Franchise Pitfalls and Profit Show. Each week, we bring you the challenges and triumphs of being in the franchise development and consulting business. The things you need to make money faster. And now your host, one of the most successful franchise developers in North America, Don Schin.
Hey, welcome back. I'm Don Schin, and we're in a series called the Hidden Gaps series here on the Franchise Pitfalls and Profit Show. Today, we're talking about one of the most dangerous blind spots that I see in franchise systems. It's one that's hidden in plain sight. It's what I call unit economic blind spots. I think one of the biggest mistakes that franchisors make is that they are assuming your franchisees understand what drives their unit level profit, but most of them don't. And it's not because they're not capable, it's because, it's not built into your franchisor training. It's not the way as franchisors that we train and support them. So that's what I want to talk about. They often think simply that revenue and revenue growth is success. We place a lot of focus on that, and that's okay. But what they're missing is what it costs to actually operate their unit, or what levers they can pull, so to speak, to improve their performance from a profitability standpoint. It's not about how much money you make, it's about how much money you keep. And to me, that's what profit is all about. It's about the money that you're keeping. So, franchisors, you may assume this knowledge is already there, but it's not. And quite frankly, many franchisee prospects, after they sign, I have literally had them tell me when I talk about some of these gaps, they tell me that, boy, I thought that's what I was going to get from the franchisor. And yet, when I look across the industry, quite candidly, the majority of franchisors are not doing that. I talk to larger brands, the 250 to 3, 4, 500 plus brands. They're starting to put business coaches in place. And some of them still are more operations oriented. Are you following the systems? Let's help you follow the system more. But some of them are getting better at that type of support. But those are the big brands. So I'm probably really talking today to the under 250 unit type brands, certainly the under 100 type brands. And according to statistics, 93% of franchise concepts out of the 4,500 that are out there have less than 100 units. So I'm talking to the majority of you. So I want to talk about the myth of revenue equals success. So let's start there. Franchisees get excited about revenue, and why wouldn't they? That's what everybody brags about. That's what gets posted online. Our unit hit $1 million. Man, you're the rock star of our franchise concept. It makes them feel like they're crushing it, but revenue is not the same as profit. You know that, but they don't always understand that. You're bringing nurses into health and wellness franchises. You're bringing teachers into child enrichment franchises. The bottom line is the bottom line is the bottom line, and they don't really understand what drives that bottom line. Activity is not the same as sustainability and growth. So the reality that a $30,000 a month with poor margin the reality is they might actually lose money in that scenario. A busy staff, maybe they're paying overtime, but it's inefficient. It may look great from the outside, but again, the unit could be barely breaking even and maybe even underwater. Let me tell you about a client that we worked with recently. Incredible work ethic. He was in an emerging brand under 20, 25 units, and he did crush it revenue wise. I don't know about you, but when I hear a unit of pretty much any kind of model, from dog washing to professional services, business coaching, or sales training, whatever, when you exceed $1 million in a unit, I think that's pretty doggone good. But in your first year, that's actually what this client had experienced. And as I described things to him, excuse me, he had no business training at all. Leadership training, a lot of organizational skills, followed systems, would execute what he was trained to do. He wasn't managing his operating costs at all. So he actually lost money that first year. And I don't mean from startup expenses. I'm talking about losing money from an operating standpoint because of not understanding profit and managing those operating expenses and those operating and managing costs. The problem is most franchisees, they don't grasp many of the key financial drivers like profit margin, like fixed versus variable costs, break-even points, cash flow and cash flow timing, and the marketing costs, the real costs of acquiring and retaining a customer. They know how to do the work, but they don't know how to make the work for them. You may have remembered a Dunkin' Donuts commercial years ago, and I'm only about 5'8" myself, so I can say this guy was short on the commercial. He was way overweight. There was a clock on the wall that said 2 a.m., and this guy, every clip they showed him, I'm baking the donuts. I'm baking the donuts. You know what? That's what most of your franchisees are doing. They're going in, they're opening up, they're doing the work, and they go home. They don't really understand what's driving the money they can keep, the profits. And there's a lot of other gaps that are in there. But today we're talking about this particular blind spot. So let's talk about why this gap exists in the first place. Reasons. They came from employment, not ownership. Boy, I don't know about you. A side of franchise building expert is a broker, eHarmony, matching people to the right fit and the right brand, the right type of business. I find that 80 to 90% of the people we work with have never been involved in evaluating a business. Few of them understand contracts. Even fewer of them really understand P&Ls. All of the things that has them have this employment mindset versus an ownership mindset. They've never been responsible for that stuff. They've never been responsible for managing the operating costs or even calculating a break even. They just haven't had to do that. So that's one of the reasons. The second reason is that franchisors, you focus on the system training. You don't focus on business training. Again, some of you really large brands may be actually starting to do some supplemental stuff. You may actually be giving them add-on support with some of your support structure, like, again, business coaches. But there's very, very few in the franchisor space, candidly, that are doing much about business mindsets and business training. Your focus always seems to be on the fact that, are you following the system? And we even do this as brokers. A lot of people will ask me, well, why does a franchisee fail, or why do they underperform? And even when I was a master franchisee and the franchisor, I used to say, well, it's probably because they didn't follow the system. But I'm realizing here in the last couple of years, it's a much deeper problem. And that's why I called it a blind spot, because most people don't recognize it. And honestly, nobody's talking about this except me. Another reason, they're told to just follow the model. Again, that's not bad advice. It's just incomplete. They don't understand why the model works. So they can't adjust as classic business ownership variables change. And then the last reason in this space about why this gap exists in the first place is that financial literacy isn't sexy. Understanding what a chart of accounts is, what a balance sheet is, what a P&L is, what cash flow is, executing a cash flow statement, understanding variable versus fixed costs. This stuff's not sexy. But we're finding more and more, as I talk to more and more franchisees and franchisors, understand that this is essential. People don't get excited about profit margin until they realize it's the key to sustainable income and healthy growth. And let's face it, enjoyment of their business even more. So we end up with franchisees who are great operators, but they are weak business owners. And what happens over time is that it just starts to show up in their lagging performance. It shows up in their frustrations and disappointment. Maybe they miss a royalty payment even, and they're late on a royalty payment because they got a mortgage to pay. They're an okay franchise partner, and ones that often don't ask for much. They don't raise their hand or they don't complain. But these are the ones that really could reach higher numbers. And that really leads to my next point, which is what happens when this gap goes unchecked. Share one other thing here with you, just a little bit. Okay. So what franchisees don't understand about their unit economics, is that we see things like underpricing their services to just drive more sales. And that's going to, discounting actually eats into their margins. I've actually seen charts where where it will show, a 10% or a 20% reduction in the price actually leads to worst case, higher percentage dings on their profit margin. So underpricing classically happens. They hire too early or too late because they can't project capacity versus revenue. So that's another thing that happens when this gap goes unchecked. They have no clear plans to even reach break even, or worse, they have no idea if they've even hit break even on any given month. The planning piece is just also so important. It's one of the things we teach in a course that we're rolling out this year that's for franchisees, but we work with franchisors about it because of the importance and the impact to the franchisor as well. No clear plans to reach break even. Again, they're just baking the donuts. Another thing is that there's frustration with royalty payments. They feel they're paying out before they're paying themselves. And this, again, is what often happens when some of these kind of middle 30 franchisees will maybe miss a payment or be late on a monthly royalty payment. And then another part of this is that there's inconsistent cash flow management. And what this is doing is creating, again, a lot of frustration. It also candidly creates a lot of burnout. In the long run, this is a recipe for long-term dissatisfaction, even from some of your originally your most enthusiastic franchise partners or new franchise partners. As the franchisor, if you don't help them build financial clarity, you're just going to be chasing the decline in royalty issues. You're going to be chasing ops support and coaching stress instead of really working with them to grow their unit and the enjoyment about growing individual units, which is going to grow your franchise. Your ops and your support people who know and preach systems are also getting extremely frustrated because they don't also really have the background or the time to be implementing some of these changes or training and coaching to address the gaps that we're seeing with franchisees. All right, so let's shift gears here for just a little bit. What are the top brands doing? Top performing brands don't leave these financial fundamentals to change. And when I say top performing brands, it doesn't just mean the big boys. Like I said, some of the larger franchise concepts have started to put some business coaches, some support systems in place to help their franchise partners. But I'm talking about top brands that can even be under 100 units, but they're identifying how they can best serve. They see the value in the investment in their franchisees, or they work out a shared investment to get these gaps filled and to eliminate this blind spot, if you will. They don't assume the franchisees will just figure it out along the way. And they don't overload their operations teams with field visits and trying to fix problems that honestly are in the P&L, and they're not really geared up to fix those problems. So what the top brands are doing is they build financial education into their early stage training. Boy, put it in your FDD. Make it a requirement. Even increase their fees a little bit, but make it mandatory early on. We're seeing huge impact in how new franchise partners are starting up in their business when they get this financial and leadership education. They're teaching the business basics, business 101s, break evens, margin management, variable costs, fixed costs, managing monthly those operating costs, and overall how much is actually can be paid out to the owners. They're giving franchisees tools to model what if scenarios. So again, they're business owners now, not just operators. They make the conversations normal about money, profit, and performance. They, as franchisors, the top brands are letting their franchise partners know, not just in word, but in deed, and exhibiting the need to work with them about money and profits. And again, they will flag what I refer to as this middle 30. They give them either out of the gates this financial training, or sometimes it's post startup when someone has kind of fell into that 30%. But they recognize the ones that really need it. They'll have conversations about it, and some existing franchise owners get it and will jump in and do the extra training that's available to them. Some don't. but the ones that really want to gain and get better and grow their units will plug in. Because franchisees who understand their numbers, they make better decisions. Better decisions to lead teams. That's part of programs that we do. And they understand the varying dynamics that impact their unit level performance. It just overall means a stronger franchise network, a stronger franchise system, which means happier owners, which means they're winning, they're growing, your royalties are going up. And hey, guess what? You're going to get referrals, and at a minimum, you're going to get really great validation. So my final thoughts, let me plug one other thing in here for you. My final thought is simply don't assume, equip. Again, let me say that as a phrase. You want to write this one down. Don't assume, AKA what they know and don't know. Be sure you equip them with what you know they need. Because here's the bottom line: profit doesn't come from potential. How many times has your friend Dev said, man, I think these people are going to be great? That's potential. Profit comes from performance. Performance is built on clarity, not just hard work. Gave you the example earlier of the gentleman in his first year, his unit doing over $1 million, and he lost money. He hustled. Man, this guy had a work ethic that was just crazy great. But he wasn't managing any of the operating costs. He didn't know how to understand how to address the variables and the things going on as the business was operating. So again, hustle and potential is just not true performance. True performance is going to come from knowing the numbers, setting goals, setting objectives, executing or creating a plan, and then executing to the plan. All of these things and the dynamics of information and training and so on allows your business owners or your franchise partners to be business owners who can make informed decisions. The grinding it out mindset just doesn't work. So if we want franchisees to perform like business owners, which is what your top people are doing, we have to train them like business owners, and ideally out of the gates. A great example of this the gentleman on the $1 million unit in his first year, when I talked with him about, well, so far in your brand, this emerging brand, 20 to 30 units, who are the top performers? And you know what he said? He said it was people who owned businesses before, or now this is their second or third business. Hello, spoiler alert. They are business owners. They are business owners. So if you don't do this, you could from the start with your new franchise partners, and you could do this with your middle 30. The good news is you don't have to build this training from scratch. You don't have to do the analysis on where are the gaps. Franchise Building Expert has done those surveys. We've worked with franchisors. We understand what's going on, and we've set up programs to address it. So if we want franchisee, so anyway, if this is a little too close to home for you, just recognize you're not alone. I mean, we're bringing out the Franchise Foundations for Success program because we see a tremendous need for it. We're helping brands solve their exact issues with a foundational program to help their brand new franchise partners, but also be a complement to your operations focused training that you always do. We're going to help your franchise partners build business acumen. And again, preferably done from day one. Again, it's complementing what you already do, and it's better equipping the people that you recruit because they're good people. It's just they don't know what they don't know. So If you want to do it better, I would suggest you look at your middle 30, the people slightly below average, the people that are average, the franchise partners that are maybe a little bit above average. I can tell you that odds are they could be doing better if they were equipped better. So this is something you want to talk about. I flashed up the way to reach out to us, or just go on franchisebuildingexpert.com, the contact section, and say you want to know more about the franchise building, the franchise foundation for success, and we'll get back to you right away. So again, if all of this resonates with you, share it with a team member. Make comments if you think I'm full of BS, or you think, man, Don, you have hit it out of the park yourself. Please make comments. If you're getting value from Franchise Profits, Pitfalls and Profits, please subscribe. And again, as I always try to do before I close, let me share what's in my heart and behind everything I do. I think franchises is not just about systems and sales. It's about people. It's about people stepping into ownership, like we were talking about today. It's about them building businesses that affect their own families, affect their communities through employment and opportunities, and them just being a fabric, or becoming the fabric of their community. It's about everybody's futures. Behind every franchise agreement is a story, and it's a story that matters. My work is rooted in a simple belief, and that is that if we equip people with the right foundations, leadership, sales, financing, or finances, decision making, we won't just build stronger business owners and stronger businesses. We're going to help them build legacies. Mine is all also driven by my faith. In the book of Acts in the Bible, it says simply that now when David had served God's purpose in his own generation, he fell asleep. That's my purpose too, to serve well in my generation, to create impact that reaches my grandchildren's grandchildren. I want to have a multi-generational impact, all giving it glory to the God that I serve. That's why I do what I do. Again, thanks for being with me here on Franchise Pitfalls and Profits.